El futuro miembro del Salón de la Fama de WWE, Randy Orton, fue entrevistado el día de ayer por Logan Paul en el último episodio de su podcast Impulsive. En dicha entrevista, The Piper habló sobre varios temas destacados, como su futuro en la lucha libre, el estatus del vestuario de WWE tras la salida de Vince McMahon de la dirección creativa, su trabajo con Matt Riddle antes de la lesión, entre otros. Cuando se le preguntó por el cambio de ambiente en el vestuario con la llegada de Triple H a la dirección creativa, Orton señaló que las cosas han cambiado para mejor, sobre todo desde que Hunter tuvo el problema cardíaco, pues se dio cuenta que debía pasar más tiempo con su familia y este pensamiento se trasladó al vestuario, por lo que ahora existen muchos más permisos para pasar con la familia. Estas fueron las palabras del luchador.
He's very smart. But you know, with the business smart, like you have any questions with wrestling, you go to him, and then you're going to get a good answer, or at least it's going to, you know, spark, you know, something of your own to come out of the woodwork. But as far as like a human being, like I went to his wedding, I've kind of seen him evolve, and he has 3 girls, and his oldest girl is just a few years older than mine, so we have that in common, but I think recently for him, because he had the health scare and everything, I think he realizes how important family time is. And that's one thing that has changed. I think, you know, back in the day, you know, you were missing birthdays, you were missing anniversaries, you were missing holidays, you know, and there was no either way about it. Like you were going to miss, you wouldn't even ask for off. Now, there's leniency there. Now he'll make sure that you can get home for the birth of your baby, or he'll make sure that you can get home for that birthday, because he understands now how important that is. And I think company-wide, that's been a change for the better.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's a great leader, man. He is the boss, but he doesn't feel like a boss.
Does not feel like a boss.
Feels like a collaborator.
Well, so he was.
Randy también fue cuestionado sobre el récord de campeonatos mundiales actualmente compartido por John Cena y Ric Flair con 16. Randy aparece más abajo con 14, pero la inactividad de Cena hace pensar que el asesino de leyendas es el indicado para superar este récord. Y de hecho, el propio luchador respondió de forma positiva, mencionando que quiere hacer todo lo que pueda. Esto dijo al respecto.
Well, let's look at the scoreboard. You've got 14 belts, correct?
Yeah. World titles, sure.
Two short of the record for most belts.
Is that what
of
it
all
is?
time? I think it's 16.
Is that Flair or Cena?
There's a tie.
That's a tie.
Correct.
So I might be tied with Hunter then at 14 too. I think he has 14 world titles.
Does that would you like to hold that record? Is it possible at this point in your career?
I want to do everything I can, man. You know, longevity is always the number one goal for me, and being able to go home, play with my kids, and not be in pain, right? That'd be the ultimate goal. But, you know, as many accomplishments as I can accomplish in this, you know, in WWE, the more the better. I've already done so much so far. It's kind of nice being in a position where I can watch other guys' matches and maybe critique and help and answer questions. And so for the first time in my career, I find myself being a little bit of, gosh, I don't even want to say the word, you know, I guess a mentor to some people, you know, like.
Otro de los temas que habló la víbora fue el futuro de su carrera, pues tras su larga lesión hubo muchos rumores que hablaban de un posible retiro para dedicarse al mundo del cine, como lo hizo en su momento John Cena. En este sentido, Randy dio a entender que seguirá luchando el resto de su vida y que no se irá a Hollywood. Además, en este punto, The Viper también admitió haber pasado un auténtico calvario con su lesión y recordó que antes de abandonar WWE tuvo la suerte de luchar al lado de un tipo como Matt Riddle, quien le ayudó mucho. Esto dijo al respecto.
So I'm like the only guy that's never left and come back. Well, other than John Cena. But like I'm going to be here for the rest. You know, this is me. Like I'm not moving on to Hollywood. I love what I do. I just had 18 months off recovering from a spinal fusion, so I was kind of faced with the fact that I might not be able to do this again. So it's almost like I got a second lease on my career here, and I'm not going to take a day for granted, not a second in that ring for granted. And so now, even now, more so than the matches you would have seen like a year ago when you first started, or a couple years ago when you first started, like I'm feeling even more in my element now.
You look probably the best you ever have, arguably.
Yeah, I changed a lot of stuff off this last 18 months. I really needed the time. I had a lot of, ailments. Of course, I mean, I couldn't stand for more than a couple of minutes without having pain shoot down my legs. When I would sit, I had a disc that was slipping every time I would bend. So, on a plane, sitting here, my feet would go numb and I'd have pain shooting down my legs. Oh, it really sucked. It really was hard. That last year before I had to leave because of the back, I was in a tag team with former WWE superstar Matt Riddle. And I got to give him props because that year we tagged together, I was not able to be in that ring unless I was in there with someone like him, because he was able to take the brunt of the physicality. He'd tag me at the end. I'd come in, I'd do my shit. And, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have made it that far. But I had some great doctors. They fixed me up right. They didn't cut through any muscle, which would enable me to get back in the ring. Because once you start cutting muscle, like that's never going to heal back. Like you're done. So I'm just blessed all the way around. And blessed to have learned, like the little tidbit of knowledge I gave from me, I learned that from guys like Triple H, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. And I'm so lucky to have gotten into the business when I did.
Siguiendo con las entrevistas, el también múltiple campeón mundial de WWE, Chris Jericho, fue entrevistado recientemente por Chris Van Vliet para su programa de YouTube. Durante la entrevista, Jericho habló sobre el regreso de CM Punk a WWE y afirmó que no le sorprendió, ya que la empresa prioriza el dinero por encima de todo y con el regreso del luchador originario de Chicago podrían obtenerlo. Esto dijo al respecto.
Did you ever think CM Punk would be back in WWE?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. That's the Vince attitude. Like, if you can make money with somebody, then you bring them back. He brought back the NWO. He brought Bischoff in. There's
Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, and Vince
Brett.
isn't in charge, but Triple H learned from Vince once again, and the fans, keeping the fans entertained and happy. I mean, look, he came back and it was the highest viewed social media segment that they've ever had. So right out of the gate, it was a benefit to them. So yeah, it didn't surprise me.
Otro de los temas que tocó Jericho durante la entrevista fue su más que probable inclusión en el Salón de la Fama de WWE, a lo que de manera sorprendente afirmó que no es algo que le interese y que en realidad el Salón de la Fama no es algo real. Jericho también mencionó en la entrevista que considera que su hipotética inclusión no hará que su legado o su prestigio dentro de la industria varíe. Estas fueron sus declaraciones.
Do you think you'll be inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame?
I always like going against the grain. I don't really understand the point of a Hall of Fame. Like, if you think I'm in it, that's great.
Of course you're in it.
There's no real Hall of Fame. It's all kind of in WWE's mind, in their chambers of the mind, And I mean, it's. Does it really matter if I'm in it or not? Like, I go up there and give some approved speech where you have 5 minutes to fucking encapsulate 33 years. It's like, I'm not interested in that at this point. And like I said, it's not a disrespectful thing. It's just like, I don't really see the benefits of it. And I kind of like, if I died tomorrow, everyone would say I'm one of the greatest of all time.
You better not die tomorrow.
It's just, I hope not. It's just that, I think because I'm still here, still doing it at the highest of levels, there's a lot of people online that just hate that. Yeah. There's a lot of Chris Jericho haters right now. It's kind of in vogue to hate Chris Jericho for whatever reason. And once again, I've never cared. I mean, sometimes it gets to you, but it's I only judge myself. I mean, dude, I don't know, at the risk of not sounding humble, I don't know who's had a longer career that I've had with as much diversity, evolution, reinvention, and actually just the opponents that I've had.